Guerrilla live streaming. As you can see, it's elemental. So, what are we doing? Got the water running. Lawn's looking good. We're into May. It's going to be snowing by Monday. So, life is good, I guess. My $9 soldering iron turns out to be like an Olympic hero at doing soldering. As it turns out, something that I've traditionally hated for a long, long time is, well, with the right equipment, quite easy, as it turns out. So, had a Novak 8.5 turn motor that was languishing, doing jack squat, because I don't use motors of that type, but ever so rarely. I just find that they break the hell out of everything. So I took the wires off of it. Does it look good? Look at that. Look at those things, man. So my fresh, tasty new Graupner 15.5 turn motor, which of course has got some timing marks that I set, seemingly. Let's double check the status of this cover. Seems like good. Seems like good. I think we're ready to go. So what I want to do is get back into this vehicle here. By immediately walking away from the bench. This is what you get when you order one of these. Okay? You see, it's just an R chassis kit. As an R chassis kit, well, what would you get with that? I can tell you right now, you're not going to get a carbon fiber lower deck. You're only going to get a carbon fiber upper. And you can see, because here's the plastic lower chassis that comes with it. This kit is the beginnings of the Tamiya Racing Factory, essentially. Because what the TA04 turned into was the TRF-414, I believe. And then it'd be a TRF-414 Mark II. And then you get into your TRF-415 and all their different variations, because that's when they really started winning championships around the world. And then you'd be into something like this, a TRF-416. You might even get a little funky with it, throw a carbon fiber deck from East Coast Chassis and Tune on it, maybe a little McLaren motor, yada, yada. But yes, so what this car began, these cars took up, and they're now into the TRF-420 series, if I'm not mistaken. Probably into 421 or something like that. So what do we have? Obviously, you buy the kit. That kit, when I first got back into RC here several years ago, I was looking around, finding some Tamiya stuff, getting back into it, because the very first real RC car I ever had was a M01 Tamiya with a Mini Cooper on it. And it was great. It was a little front-wheel drive thing. It was fast as hell. But when I got back into it, I saw that kit chilling out in Hong Kong. And I watched that thing. I put it on the watch list. It was on there for over 3 years, just sitting there languishing. And I'm sitting there thinking the whole time, man, somebody's going to buy that. You know, I was into getting other stuff going on. And I never didn't have a chance to get it until I got like on the side kind of job where I just made this chunk of money. All the bills were paid. I was just super, super stoked because I popped off and bought this thing. And I also found used the little lower carbon fiber deck. And then in Japan, you can see, well, shit, I got to angle it correctly. You can see back here this lower bulkhead mount. And I got the ones on the front as well. I found those in Japan for like 50 bucks. Somehow the carbon deck was in Arizona or something. I found this little carbon front shock tower in China. And I missed the very last of the Tamiya branded, like the new in bag rear shock towers that were available, like Amazon, eBay, somebody else bought them. Sure, it didn't really hurt my feelings too much. I think the bolt mounting pattern is approximately the same, excepting for where you would have the body mounts. So I could probably get this rear carbon tower to fit in here. I would just have to scrap this body. Many moons ago, up until actually several years ago, I think, or maybe even still currently, they have an edition of this type of car. It's a Le Mans series car, so endurance racing, that kind of thing. They look the craziest, and they really are kind of the wildest race cars out there. This one, I believe, is a Mercedes, a C11. It may be a C9, because I don't really know the models of them. I do know that it was allegedly some guy named M. Schumacher, whoever that is. So the body I found in Hong Kong had it shipped over with the Benetton body. I got a B194 Formula body for that. And then the graphics are just kind of a blend of stuff. The Repsol kit I got from Screen Print Digital in Great Britain. They're on eBay, and they're excellent. You know, it takes a few weeks to get that stuff over here. They're just putting it in an envelope and sending it via the mail. But I just plan this stuff in advance and wait, and it ends up getting you some graphics and liveries that you usually cannot find here in the States. Or maybe you can, I just don't look hard enough or something. But either way, I love the metal flake in the blue, and I thought just a nice blue and white Repsol livery on the Mercedes. I doubt they ever used it like this. This is supposed to be like a silver, but those cars were pretty hideous. And the body itself had this huge air dam back here, basically. Like, it was just the back end with the lights and everything, so it was normal like the real car was, but it was very aerodynamically inefficient. Like, you could tell just blowing wind with a fan, it would lift the rear end of the car up because it would catch so much air in here. A wing. This is a metal adjustable. It's an aluminum wing, and then the sheet metal mounts. The mounts, I think, are racing, but they're really, really tall. And then I took some end links and some all thread and jacked it into the back of the shock tower right above the differential. So whatever airflow is hitting this wing is definitely going to be pushing right down on the rear end of the car. The kit itself comes with your nice finned heavy-duty aluminum motor mount. It's got already the aluminum and carbon fiber spur gear mount. I didn't realize that it would come with that. I had ordered a different one, but that was cool too. You see the Evo P1 servo, getting those out of Taiwan. Really, really solid. The aluminum servo mounts. It's a high torque servo saver with the aluminum faceplate on it. I managed to get a set of aluminum knuckles and uprights. The uprights are from a TA07 or maybe a TB07. I don't know. They just happen to fit. I'm still in search for lower knuckles, and I think I may have found a suitable set of lower arms, but I've got to be sure on that one. So I may be buying a set of arms just to test. Some of the stuff in Tamiya's lineup will cross over. Obviously, all of the tie rod ends, these ball ends, are just generic $8 for 12 or something like that. And you can get them to where if you see this one, it's got a smooth shank on it. And then over here, I don't know if you can really see it that well. Oh, God, I hate the freaking glare sometimes. Yeah, right there. You see that little line right there? That's a actual groove in there, but that one is a left-hand thread. So they've got right and left-hand threaded ones, and they call it a CW or CCW, so clockwise or counterclockwise when they label it. It comes with the aluminum shocks. They're high performance and heavy springs. They're actually a pretty stiff spring. Anti-sway bars. It comes with the kit. The little battery things. Last live stream that I was doing to get this all ready to go, or try to get it to go before I figured out my soldering iron was total crap. I got these battery things off of this little $10. They're like $10 or $12 free shipping from China. It take a few weeks, but they show up and it's just a little carbon fiber plate with a couple of straps, and then these aluminum end plates. Well, somehow the aluminum end plates fit the exact body or the chassis mounts holes that were in the chassis already. So my little shorty battery pack now fits right the hell down in there, but it just, you have on this one side, because it's a little funky and I might have to change that up later, but I don't really mind because this battery was for 3 cars. This one, a TA04S that I have up there, I'll show that to you right quick. So there, that is the Calsonic Nissan Skyline R34 Z-Tune Super Special limited edition. Excuse me. Yokomo wing, double stack. It's actually a really nice wing for the Aero. I've got a video that I posted. It's like 30 seconds of this car pitching a 3-foot. It's like a perfect rooster tail off the back end of this car. But you can see that it is their same plastic tub style racer. I've got it set up with a brushed kit, 17-turn LRP, Tekin 411G drag racing motor control, and a LiPo 2-cell smart stop cutoff deal. And you can see my little blue spur gear holder. So I've modded this one quite a bit, added aluminum steering from a TA05. But in keeping with the current build, I really wanted, a minute ago I was going off on a tangent about where Tamiya was making these things before on like a F103 chassis. It is a 2-wheel drive. It's like a Formula 1 chassis, but they widened it out for the bigger bodies and stuff. And when I tried to find one of those things, they were extraordinarily expensive, like $1,000, because it's very rare. And they came as like a really well put together kit. They were meant to be super fast. And that class of car ended up basically getting sized down, I think, to 12th scale. So the 12th scales are these little itty bitty things that look like a wing flying through the freaking track, and they're so fast, but they're just tiny. They're not a full 10th scale car. I was having problems obviously with traction, putting too heavy motors in, so I never thought one of those cars would be very good with me for 2-wheel drive. I wanted to see what 4-wheel drive would get me. So what had happened was I found this kit, lovingly watched it for a good long time. I've got the TA05 steering, the aluminum steering on that one in black, as you can see. One watched the kit, finally got it, got the body in, started getting the wing and this stuff, found the big, huge tires. These are drag racing tires from John's BSR. I am going to get, now that I know that the contacts come in a white rim, because I had to paint these rims. So getting this thing all put together as a Le Mans car, but in four-wheel drive, I thought would be a lot better. And if I could get the 45s to stick up front, I would do it, just to get the extra traction. The first motor and motor control that I threw in there was a Castle short course truck motor control and a 6900 kV motor. So this thing was doing, I don't know, somewhere north of 70 the way it was geared. So 70 real miles an hour. And then it decided, like when I lifted a little bit, you could see it raise up a little bit, and it definitely started to float and spin and do all kinds of other crazy stuff I wasn't really happy with or prepared for. So not wanting to blast apart a completely, I mean, to me, priceless kit on some rocks or something, I just went ahead and shut her down and started revamping and getting back to the idea that I wanted to have something really nice and spicy for a drivetrain. But I did not want to do it at the expense of plotzing this thing into a curb real hard because I, can't control it now or something like that. All right, so we got an original battery strap that can obviously get to riding along here, but it comes at the expense of having to physically bolt it down. I don't want to get into doing this because even though it will work, I don't know, that might actually be like a really good idea. Put this in and put it in those holes. Well, I couldn't do that. Can't do it like that. I guess I could do it on this side. I've got a Team Lozy battery tray thing that's just a flip over deal, and it would be super nice. It's too bad I can't take it and flip this over to the other side and have it close over on that side. I bet I could sand this off. That's a thought. I might do that. But I do like these little aluminum ends. They really match well, and it's like a perfect little snug fit for this battery. So drivetrain wise, what I ended up finding was an LRP Spin Super motor control. This is a really good deal from RC Mart. If you're not looking at RC Mart for some of your stuff, you're insane. Their prices are good. Their shipping's not bad. It gets a lot easier on your shipping costs if you buy some extra stuff. Like you'll find some pricing brackets where you actually get some pretty cheap shipping because you decided to buy a bunch of extra little doodads for your stuff, because you'll find it real cheap, and then when you add on and get a nice little package going, it helps. Let's see. Some ball differential thingies, and what do we got? Digging through here. So I've got spur gear, that plate there. I need to get my bolts for my spur gear. I've got the freaking pinion handled. What we've got is a 51 tooth pinion and 116 tooth spur. I can go a little bit bigger. I think I can get a 120 in there without rubbing the body, but the tolerances on this body are incredibly tight. The motor is a Graupner Racing 15.5 turn. I figured 17.5 turn would be spicy like my 417 and my my other 04 have both got 17 turn motors in them, and they are really nice and fast. I mean, I'm not going to be declaring them as like what nowadays people say is the fast RCs, like they're 100 miles an hour. That's just ridiculous. But they are, for just touring cars, they're very quick. Funny enough, the brushed Motor 17 turn is actually a little bit quicker in a drag race because it doesn't have the instantaneous wheel spin, so it doesn't lose traction off the line. Very fast car. It hits like a freaking 10-pound hammer. I just don't see my spur gear mountain bolts. I don't see my motor mount bolts. Because all I got to do is glue this down, bolt that in, bolt the gears on, get the bullet connectors put in place, and get this clipped off to where it needs to be. Connect it correctly, and we are a go for launch. So I want to get this done real quick. All right, let's get into it. Be a little serious, maybe. Yeah, I'll check one of you out. These little short guys can be useful too, but you don't want to get too short. You have to recognize that you got to have good thread engagement. So even though you can get into like the really short stuff, make sure and put the right length in there, otherwise you're going to be hurting. I don't know why I'm giving you guys an impromptu bolt warning, but there you have it. You've been warned. Don't screw up on bolt length. Oh, let's see. It's a little bit extra. Still check and make sure, because I know I've got several of those. And I want this. And let's see if this is going to... Boy, that's a lot of bolts sticking through there. Okay, so we need these little guys. Whatever they are, 5-6 millimeters, something like that. What do we have here? Bevel head. There's bolts just laying around here all over the damn place. I need to clean this bench up, but... Well, I just haven't gotten down to it yet. In case you're having too much fun. Too much fun. Shorty. There's another shorty. I might be able to get these to fly going for, let's see, I might not either. Yeah, no. It's not really a good thread engagement. I want something that goes all the way through. Oh, come on, no, maybe not. No, wrong size. Too long. Too long. Gotta be just right, folks. And this is what, this is the true excitement that you miss in RCing when people have their shit together, putting on a live stream or whatever. They got all this stuff like pre-prepared and wound up, you know, just all ready to go. I'm saying when it's well-produced content, you're not having to sit here watching some idiot finger fuck a bowl of bolts. Try and make dumb jokes about it. Well, fantastically enough, there may not be any of those left in there. So let's switch to another well-used, time-tested tactic. Steal them from a bolt bin. Haha. From a project. Or have I already done that so many times it's already over? Chris, I got a lot of crap down in here. Sorting through it all is maybe not what I should be doing right this second. What I'm kind of hoping is that I haven't really launched into my Formula One kit too hard on any of these fishing expeditions. Now that I'm sitting here thinking about how much rallying and road car driving we were doing while waiting for the time and the budget for parts for that thing. Yeah, shit's been raided thoroughly. What's odd is that I should actually have those bolts just kind of sitting somewhere. It's not. Ooh. Oh, hey. Uh-huh. Yeah. Take one of those too. Okay. Now, looks like we've got 2 motor mount bolts, bing and bong, and a spur gear pair of bolts. On these, I definitely, absolutely suggest using Loctite, because this is some shit you don't want to do all the time. And it was something that, as an early RCer, when I was all covered in noob sauce, trying to learn how to do this, I kind of figured out that if you don't get the gearing correct, if you get it wrong on the mesh, you're boned. Okay, so what do we want here? Alright, so I got those pointed over that way so that the sensor's not totally in a clusterfucked mess. I could maybe get away. Nope, can't do it on the lower end. Can we put it to the side? There's definitely room to put them on the side, although I don't really want them that close to the battery. And I mean, it wouldn't be like they would ever be able to touch that, but I don't like stuff being so near to metal. So I think we'll go up to this position here. Yeah, there. Seems a bit better. Okay. Let's Alright, just a little dab will do you. Don't be afraid to rub it in with your fingers. Touch it a little bit. Wipe some on your shirt. Makes them look good. Makes those that love you very proud of you. Okay, so that apparently is not what kind of size of bolt it wants. What I need to do is now is find, because this is going in too long. On these motor mount bolts, you need to really be gentle how you put them in there. Because at some point or another, if the bolt goes far enough into the case, it's going to hit the rotor or something, or it's sitting in there spinning around. So you don't want to, don't be a fuck up. Take it slow and steady. I wonder if I tucked into here sneaking around. Probably not. I got a whole bunch of long ass bolts in there. Okay, so let's try one of these shorties. And since the motor's new, we'll even put a little bit of Loctite on the shorty and get him in the action. So if he touches anything, he gets a little Loctite bath to it. Okay. All right. Well, you know what? As I put this in here, I recognize there's quite a bit of bolt going through there on these little ones. So we'll go back out with these longer screws. No biggie. This is how you figure it out when you leave it for so long you don't remember. And when you're looking for shit out of a bucket, it's just a smart idea. Take your time. Test a couple different ones. Do it nice and slow. Don't go jamming it in there like you do with your finger in your butt. There you go. That one will work. And he's got a little trace element. The essence, the odor of Loctite having already been there. All right, just a tiny little look. Look at how tiny that is. See there? Just, yeah, you can't see shit because I got bad taste in buying webcams. But rest assured, there's just the tiniest of little dots of Loctite on there, kids. All right. Get them in there, get them snug, back them off. Back them off to where the motor just kind of slides, but you're going to have to use it like both hands to slide it, all right? Because if you try and do it one-handed, it cocks and catches because the tolerances are just tight enough. Okie dokie. Now let's try and put just a little spur gear action in here. No. This is not the screwdriver you were looking for. Let my screwdriver go. Well, maybe it's over here, dumbass. Okay, so as I notice, I do not have any Loctite on this set screw. These are set screws to me, or perhaps a grub screw. Grub, as in a grub worm. Or get yourself some hot grub. Alright, there's a flat spot on the shaft of the motor. If you don't already know this, use your fingers. And you want to feel into it. Alright, I'm kind of just getting this a little bit basically lined up to where I think generally the motor's going to be by eyeballing this flat spot on the shaft. Snug, not tight. Schnuggins, not tightly. Alright, so then we go back over to this direction. A lot of people have stands that shit can sit on, and those are totally cool. Quite sure that they highly recommend you get one. Oh, look at that. Just went right in there. We're at max out on the motor, and we've got partial engagement on the teeth of the spur. So essentially we're at like the biggest we can get. I might be able to get a 52, maybe a 53 in there. I've got a 53. Maybe I should try the 53. Maybe it just goes right in there like it's all sexy fly and delicious. Let me see. 53 teeth on the pinion, which is tall, folks. Really tall. All right, let's see. Can 53 live? with this 116. Oh, shit. Man, oh man. This thing's basically all the way out. Should I try it? What do you think, kids? That sucker works. It flies. It fits. You know what? You know what? Just go for that. I don't know if you can hear that, but it's got almost, it's just got a little click. You know what I mean? Like, so you can just feel the lash where there's gap in between the two gears so that, like, they're not smacking and raking into each other, but they're just enough of a gap in there where they don't actually touch when they come down like this. If they're too tight, you got one driving into the other and chewing them to pieces, so they eat themselves apart. But if there's just the right amount of gap where they can shake a little bit, they just drive against each other, and they almost don't even wear because of the plastic that they use, and then these aluminum gears, they just don't wear very much. So we have made a determination for higher speed because that sounds good, right? Speed and power solves many things. We're going to use a method developed by the great Clarksonius as we apply the appropriate amount of schmuckums to this little affair. Okay. Okay. All right, speed and power, 53 over 116. That's going to be a significant increase in, well, I mean, over 51, it might not be too big a deal. Oh, let's strip that out. That was not happy. That was not a happy feeling. It was not squealing from the feeling. All right. With this one, so I'm going to run those in nice and tight. Remember, the steel screw can strip the aluminum holder. The aluminum holder is from a kit that's been out of date and out of production for over 20 years. This is the usual when it comes to Tamiya kits. Oh, okay. I was like, damn it, I can't get to the screw with this big ass fucking pinion. Okay, so what I want. Okay, so I'm gonna give you a little wiggle. Okay, I don't know if you heard that or not. If you did, what you just heard was a very slight gap between the meshing of these gears. Now, what I want to do is see if I can't get a little bit tighter. Just a thousandth, maybe. I'd like to take a thousandth out of that, whatever that just was. No, no, just a touch too much right there. That might be it. Might be it. It's not a matter of like how, well, I guess it is kind of a matter of how close can you get it. How closely can you get that thing to blend with to mesh with the gear without necessarily grinding against it. Okay. Just a bit too much still. Just a bit too much engagement right there. This is a finesse, a real finesse deal. You cannot. Okay. Oh yeah, that one's good. You're like slowly tightening this thing down in stages in a couple different spots. And as you do that, it'll kind of press a ridge, a little baby ridge, a thousandth or two, into the aluminum mount with the steel screw. And it's also compressing the motor ring up against the back of here. So as you're developing this little, oh, I can feel it, but it's just barely there. Yeah. Yeah, so as you get a little bit of the motor mount just barely roughed up enough, when you get it to settle into that right spot where you want it and you suck it down, it's got enough grab on it. And then because you put it on Loctite, the bolts can't go anywhere. Okay, so that's down in the, well, I would give that 3 to 5 thousandths range is what that feels like. I can range them clear out to like 6 or 8 thousandths, I believe, is acceptable, you know, as far as the range that I've seen work. So there we have it. We've got yeah. If there's any rolling resistance between these two gears because of the way that they engage, you're not going to get the power that you want out of the motor. You're taking power to mesh the gears instead of just turn them. You're just trying to apply power to get it to transfer out to the wheels. That is a very, very slight amount of that. If we have to go back down to a 51 because of temperature or something like that, that'll just be how it goes. It'll be what it is, and that's what it will be. Okay, now previously on yet another channel of something, I didn't notice the hole in the back of my ESC. Probably don't want that filling up with fucking dirt. Okay, changes things a little. Yeah, I don't want it to face necessarily like that. That's going to be shitty. Okay, children, we need to plug off a hole here. Oh, let's see here. Don't know why there's a hole in the side of that thing. Don't care. Don't want it filling with dust. And because of the way this thing's got to sit, we don't have a lot of options as far as getting everybody in place. I should really put this away. I should not play with knives like that. Okay, so we've got this. If we get too far, we get into the belt. It's just a fact of the life. So, can we put this like this? Yes, we can go over the top here and here. So these guys can chill out on over here. It's protected away from side impacts, which I like. It's kind of shapely-ish. We can actually go up over here and get these guys probably in play. Maybe here? Yeah, we can do sensor wire. These guys will ride up like this, and then okay, let's get into cleaning that surface off just a touch. Just a touch. Just because I want to touch it and clean it. Now, take some of these. Where else? What else we got? Where's my cleanser? Oh, well. I'll tell you what we can do. Glass cleaner's being a little bit bitchy. Trying to hide. We will use a touch of alcohol. Alright, so let's get this guy mounted up here. Alright. As you're pushing down, you don't want to crush the whole thing. Some of these cases and stuff like that, you can actually physically collapse them and crush the damn thing if you push it on too hard. So don't do that. That's a no-no. What you do to avoid that, just kind of push down gently on the heat sink, but give it a little bit of a twist as you're getting in there. The glue, if you set it down, I find if you give them a twist and get it to really start to stretch that glue across, kind of activates or something. It does very nicely. Okay, so if we were, see now this is a problem I've got. I've got a motor control and setup here that I'm not really gonna want having sensor wires and all this other stuff hanging out by us. So I might just come in here. Of course, that's turned around. Oh, come here, come on. There we go. Oh, yes, okay. Now, so what we do there is clip that one little baby zip tie and get another one in there to hold both the radio antenna and the sensor wire. That'll ride up there. Then we're going to take this and come down here with it, because these will do better here. So right alongside of that, got the motor wires coming along. How about, I'm gonna have to get some bullet connectors. Those are bullet connectors because they're shapely at the pointy end. Kind of shapely like a bullet. Do you get it? Do you understand? Okay. I guess that we're just gonna lock these fuckers down into place here. These little El Cheapo zip ties are great. They'll allow you to do whatever kind of fitting, setting stuff in place that you need to do. Because what I'd really like to kind of do is I've got a hole here in the chassis where I can get a screw in there. I can put a tie rod end on the end of that and then have these separated from the battery tray on both sides of it. Because what we're trying to do is get these to come down in a very, very neat little fashion. Uno dos tres, you know what I mean? Just right into the wiring pack. And then on this back hole here, I put a taller stud and it leans, it'll lean these things down in such a way that it just looks nice and natural and neat. Okay? So this is what we do. This is how we do it. Oh man, I got a thing. I got a thing in my crock. One of my big rubber masturbating shoes is suddenly uncomfortable. All right, so there's that guy. And on the back one here, we're gonna have to put probably some sort of nut, a canute. We're gonna need a nut. Or we can just use a taller tie rod end. Okay, so you see how I got a tall and a short, right? We're just trying to stick them up there. So when these come down, they've got a nice little place to zip tie that is not the battery tray. Okay? I don't like the attaching of things to other things where they don't freaking belong. Well, maybe I do. Who knows? I shouldn't say that. Maybe I do like that sort of thing sometimes. I could be convinced. Maybe. Alright, so we're going to be into here, but probably on one of these. Seems like good. So, no, that's probably a little too tall. Let's get one of these little guys into play. I like to use these little tie rod ends because it's a nice little cheap and easy solution for an attaching point. They can be convinced and manipulated pretty easily. They'll thread pretty much anything because the hole don't care what you're using. I know that sounds a little raunchy, but 'tis the way it is. All right, so now I got a little point there. Point A is secure. Point B, close. Getting there. Working our way to it. Is that another purple freaking lug nut? Hang on. Love it. Let's set him out here where we can see him. All right, now we got this other one. He's a little taller. He wishes he was a baller. And that. Okay, so this one sticks out just a little bit too far. Okay. I don't want to strip it and I don't want to lean it over. All right, so what I want to do, because I want to have it coming down here. So I want to have it on that side. So one of the sides is going to have to get slimmed. I need a slimming effect. And the fastest way we're going to get that is with a sanding wheel. If you didn't know what that is, yeah, little angle grinder. All right, so we're going that side. There. All right. Be real gentle when you're doing that, otherwise you'll catch a finger and find out what a scraped knuckle really feels like. Now we put this guy over here. Ooh, he's got a little bit better fitment there. We're not having to drag him around so hard. All right, now, noun, a person, a place, or a thing. Now, we got a couple of little attaching points that are just a bit better, my way of thinking. We'll take this zip tie and get rid of him, because he gave us the look we were looking for while we were looking for it. And then we'll put in all right, let's turn this on a little bit. All right, so I want this one up like that, a little bit curvy, give it some look, give it a little punch, and it gives this little hump in the wires is going to give us a little access to push the button. You got to be able to turn this thing on. So that's what we're looking for. All right, so I got these guys there. And then we got these fellows here that will be kind of more in line. I still have to trim those wires down. So that's kind of how we're headed. Eh? So when the motor wires come down to sit, it should be a seamless blend without making contact with the battery, etc. Scissors. These little scissors make great cutters for the zip tie lover in all of you. All right, so that's there. So we're looking at here, roughly. All right, this kind of thing you might want to get a little bit there, basically. Now we got this guy, and he'll be farther up the road. He'll be here. This guy, he's down here. He's just hanging out. He needs to be there. Okay. So this is this. Come down here. All right. If you're bored already, you know, you're wondering what the hell I'm doing. I'm trying to map out where these wires are going to end up. I don't like the fact that these are bunched up the way that they have. Kind of pissing me off a little bit. There we go. It kind of ends up where the connectors are just literally riding the freaking the ends here. And right where I want to put that zip tie affair is kind of exactly where I don't want it to be, is like right there, but yeah. Alright, so I got those wrapped up there. Is that a little better? You give me a little bit more of a, it's going to be along the center here where I want it to be. Okay, so this is hanging out up here. Get it just right. If we get it just right, we might be able to put on a little clinic here about what some halfway decent wiring lumage or location, whatever looks like. Let's put this back here. Okay, so if I do that, I don't actually tighten them to the point where they're just dying in there. But I also give them a chance and sit down and sit up, and then you can get in here pretty easy, get the button turned on. So that is kind of where we're at there. So now the only thing I got to do is let's do a little trimming here and do some butt connecting or some actual connecting. Let's take them all the way back to here. Got a couple more pieces of wire for the kit and caboodle. Now let's take and clip this little zip tie. I know it's a little bit wasteful, but I wanted to get them to sit in the right correct position. That way we can see what the heck we're doing here. I'm all clipped. Let's find out what kind of connectors. Can we get a blue one? Does the yellow fit? These should just go popping right in. Yes, they will. They are a bit of a heat shrink connector, but I'm not really too worked up over it because this heat shrinking will make these very, very stiff. So essentially, cut the shank off just a little bit so that they're not quite so freaking stiff on there. All right, so there's that. Let's go like this. All right, so I got that in there. It's all the way up into the banana part of the bullet connector, or I'm sorry, the tip of the bullet connector. Find the opening and put your rounded side on it. I know that sounds a little dirty. Kind of is. These little things in here, when you put the wire in this side, all right, wire goes in there. It's like a little cup. It's not like a perfect tube. It's got a gap in there. Okay, the gap is meant to crimp down in. There's a rounded side and a toothed side. You see the toothed side on the bottom and then the rounded side, but the gap in the rounded side, and it'll hold those things to a round engagement of the wire. It'll help them clamp down on it. Uno más. Okay. We're all the way in. Locate the gap. Usually it's on the top, whatever that means to you. Whenever you find said gap is where you begin your crimping procedure. There we go. You want to give them, like, hold the wire real tight and give it a good tug. Don't try to rip it off of there, but you want to make sure that it's seated correctly. Sometimes they'll give you a little hassle if you get, like, you go to crimp it, and as the action of it crimping, you're turning your arm or something wrong. You just got it set wrong, and you'll twist the connector or the wire right off or out sometimes, and that'll really ruin your day. Because especially if you spend a lot of time working on a real long process of creating a custom harness, and then you screw the pooch on one of the wiring connections, well, you get pissed at yourself. Good reason. Why would you be such a derelict? Yeah. Okie dokie dokie day. Let's see here. With these, and we can plug them right into there, and then they'll go down and get clamped in right there. Now obviously I got to shrink this stuff down a little bit, so I'm gonna pull that back out. That's why you got to have good soldering, because you're moving things, you're touching stuff, and this thing's got a bulkhead that's just riding right there. It can't be screwed with, so you need to get it done correctly. All right, let's. There you go. All heat shrunked. Heated and then shrunk. Okay, so lovely little factory motor connectors on a lot of these motor controls will give you this little rubber boot that goes over the bullet connector. And that's really nice because that rubber boot folds right over and seals up on your butt connectors very, very nicely. And it makes you look kind of like a hero. All right, so now we go down and do the final tying of zips to get this thing all the way in place right where we want it. Lock these wires down and they don't move ever. All right, so that goes up there. Pull that up just a touch. There we go. Precisely. I like it. We'll let that dog hunt. Okay, so now you see what I was aiming for as far as getting those down onto the battery tray, but not directly wired to the battery tray. So they're not having to do anything, but it's just sitting in a nice, even little pack. You get right in here with your finger. You're not trying to drag any of the wires out or get them hooked on anything. Okay, so that leads one to believe it is high time. All right. Got that going on. Let me get this little zip tie here coming out. Swap him out for a fetching black version. And get our sensor wire locked in place. Everything about this car is super tight tolerances, so you can't get anything into the body without getting into some trouble. You know what I mean? Like, you can't put anything anywhere weird. Otherwise, you're going to be regretting it. That's what we're looking for. A little bit of sexy and flexy in there. The shielded wire is well protected. And the radio antenna is well protected. Why do I have such an antenna? Why am I running an antenna clear through the chassis and back to the body? A, because didn't have an extra radio sitting around, and B, because this is a Spectrum SR3000. It's actually a 2.4 gigahertz. So it's not a bad deal. All right, so where are we going with this? Does it go in anymore, or do we have to put it in like so? We put it in like so. Turn this on. Let's get the radio out. The only unfortunate part about this is that it's so old it takes 8 batteries. Cool thing is that you can take one of the little M series 60D rally tires from Tamiya. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it says Tamiya on the tire. And use it for one of these little cool guy steering wheel things, and it's good, nice and grippy. So once again, I told you that Tamiya parts can be used in a variety of situations. You just never know. God, I'm getting real good at dropping these batteries. Super good at it. All right. Looking for a little initial startup and run it in. I don't have anywhere to drive this thing right close. This car is kind of special to me, so I usually only reserve this for like parking lot, or I'm sorry, not parking lot, but the hockey rink, because it's real smooth and there's a lot less grit and dirt and nasty shit to get into it. How do you turn this on? Here. This is one of the troublesome points about having these big giant battery pack having fucking things. It's because you're constantly trying to figure out, okay, is it making connection? Ah! Awesome. Okay, so got things plugged in. I still need to do a little bit of work getting the servo wire here, or this done up. I'll get that in a minute here, get that all sealed out. But what I'd like to do, whoa. Oh, I got reverse. Okay. Okay, so the spin super seems to be working good. We'll leave it at 18, whatever, as far as changed. All right, so you can see thing works good. And now I'm really curious as to how fast it actually is. Yeah, cool. All right. I can dig it. Can you dig it? So there you go, kids. TA04-R with some pro parts dangled in there and some love and sauce rubbed all over it. And then we got poof. That's how we make the magic happen. Let's see here. Ooh. Are you there yet? Are you there, God? It's me, Margaret. You know, man, they do heat up a little bit. I'm not mad at this. It just kind of goes. I don't have to. Yeah, I like it. I like it. I didn't go too far. I think the other castle motors and all this other kind of stuff was just too damn crazy, and it's unnecessary for this car. And there you go. Just a single push button off on deal. And hail, yes, that car is basically ready to go again. I don't know though. The one thing that does kind of worry me is whether or not the body's going to fit on there without doing some major reworking to where those wires are sitting or something. I don't know. Let me see. Let us just see. Oh, okay. I don't know if you guys can see that in there. Let's get it in there. Okay, you see how the battery wires curve right up and go into the hump of the body? So there's literally nothing touching, nothing rubbing. It's not sitting in there jingle jangling. So what that'll mean is that this vehicle is basically ready to go. I don't have to do anything to the wiring on this. I may put it like right next to the receiver or something, just so it's a, but ultimately that is one complete car. Get down with a little bit of this cleanup action here. Give me another zip tie. Give me another zip tie. All right, let's see here. There you go. Get in there, Lewis. All right. Oh, damn it. All right. Try that again. Nope. Not that time. Try it again. Got it. Oh. Oh, I heard it click. I heard it. I seen it. All right. There. Now, that keeps that wire the hell away from everything stupid. Kind of gets those a little bit into there. Okay, there. Here we go. Well, maybe we just put that on the other side and it'll just kind of sit there. Maybe it'll just sit there, man. Okay. Okay. Okay, all right. Excellent. I like that. Okay. There we go. And you get your little motor control wire strapped away. Battery wires for the motor control are just kind of free. They're free balling it out there. Motor control, or the motor wires, are actually just nice and sealed up. Got the sensor wire rolling with the antenna wire. And as far as a wiring harness, that vehicle is ready to go. So, and even, I mean, you can tell the rattling that you're hearing is the battery flopping around in there. But as soon as you put the battery strap across here and tighten it down, it stays exactly where it is. All the wires are away from the belts and the drive systems. And now I've got what I would consider, and we'll just have to see whether or not it's geared up correctly, because 53 over 116 is pretty steep. That's a tall gear, but it should be fine. I didn't feel a lot of heat load, even just holding it in place. That's why I was just holding it like by the wing and letting it spin the tires. Because with that kind of resistance, if we were going to have a problem, if the motor was drawing too much amperage for this, because of the tall gearing, it's going to give you some shit right here on the bench while you're just trying to drag it with this big ass tires. With the 6900 kV motor, these tires had so much traction, it left 4 black marks for about 3 feet and then unscrewed the ball differential in the rear. And then when I tightened that back up, it tried to do it to the front. And so that's when I called it quits on that big ass motor. Because it was so powerful that the tires would heat up, get grip, and then it would unthread the parts holding the differential together, which is no bueno. So, look at there. There's an hour and a half gone. You see? Sometimes guerrilla live streaming can be fun. At least for me it was. This is yet another project that I've been waiting to get done to this level and this level of satisfaction for quite some time. I've had it in a couple different configurations. I didn't really like them, at least as far as the motor and motor control are concerned. And this one, I like the fitment. I like how it just sits down in there and tucks in nicely. I like what I've done with the battery tray now and hold down. I think the only improvement that I could make is taking this really old school radio, and what I will do is I'm going to buy one of these regular little 2-channel deals and throw him on here because he's a smaller deal. Take this radio off and end up swapping it out and upgrading this car because he still has a 27 megahertz AM radio, which does not have the kind of range, and I think the handset is actually wearing out, so it was giving me problems on another car. The Ford never has yet, but I don't want to give it a chance because obviously a lot of these things are so rare. If you bash them on a wall, you don't get to replace the chassis and front suspension or gear case. So there you have it, my lovely little childrens. Flock out, buy yourself something cool, mod the living crap out of it, and you too may end up with something as gnarly as this. I know, I'm not a good painter, but when it comes to getting some RC car stuff done, occasionally I've got what it takes. So that will do for today. I enjoy that. I've got a race coming up here in a couple hours. What are we doing? Ah, that's right, the Nordschleife. Going to the Nürburgring, doing an endurance thing, hour-long deal, and driving a Praga R1. Those are pretty hairy little cars. So thank you for dropping by. I appreciate your subscriptions and your time. And I hope you guys are learning something, if not, or at least enjoying yourselves. So until the next time, thank you and good night.